Welcome, scholars. It's Tam, your host of FY Squared, where we help you go from your freshman year of high school to your freshman year of college. This video is all about letters of recommendation. But before we get into it, I need to make sure you're not missing out. How do you get videos from this channel, those notifications to make sure you don't miss anything? Hit subscribe to our channel to make sure you get those weekly videos that's going to help you with your college acceptance. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you post those. We love to hear your feedback, suggestions on future videos. All right, so 5 tips to get that winning letter of recommendation. Letters of recommendation is one of the things that I feel like sort of goes overlooked when it comes to college acceptance. But it's important because it gives colleges and universities a different perspective of you from someone else's perception, which can be important. Let somebody else brag about you. You can't do all the bragging. So how do you get your recommender to write and give you that winning letter of recommendation? My tip number 1 is simple but often overlooked. Ask early. There is nothing worse, and believe you, I am as an experienced counselor, I get this a lot. There is absolutely nothing worse than someone asking you for a letter of recommendation at the last minute. If you are going to write a good quality letter of recommendation, it takes time. It takes time to package all that goodness into a letter. Asking early ensures that it gives the recommender the time to write the letter in addition to all of the other responsibilities that they have. So when I say early, I would really prefer and really recommend at least 6 weeks in advance. 6 weeks before you need that letter. If you can't do 6 weeks, make sure you ask as early as possible. So tip number 1, ask early for that letter of recommendation. Tip number 2, choose wisely. Everyone is not the same. So you need to choose someone to write your letters of recommendation that, for number 1, hopefully knows you well, typically beyond the academics, or they've at least known you for a while, and it's someone that you feel is going to give you a quality letter. That means even if you've known a teacher for a while, but let's be honest, they give sort of mediocre lessons and you can tell they put sort of mediocre effort into their class, that means that you're probably going to get a mediocre letter. That might not be the person that you want to ask for a recommendation. So you need to make sure you choose wisely, because that could be the difference between an acceptance letter or a denial letter. So tip number 2, choose wisely. Tip number 3 is to make sure you paint the picture that you want to frame. That means give the recommender information that you want included in your letter. That can be information about you, and it should also be information on the scholarship, the college, whatever information that you can. You are able to paint the picture that you want to frame for yourself. So if the college or university is asking information about adversity, make sure you give that person that information. You're probably wondering, why did I choose adversity? Here's why. Because we're talking about college acceptance, but the same thing applies for scholarships. And earlier this week, I received an email from an amazing student who I wrote a letter of recommendation for about a month ago, asking me to nominate her for a scholarship. Of course I did. That's what experienced guidance counselors do. However, When I went in to nominate her for the scholarship, one of the things that it asked for was what adversities had this student overcome. Guess what? I had no idea. She didn't give me any information about any adversities. So I sent her an email. We scheduled a Google Meet. Yes, it's COVID time. We do Google Meets. And I had to get the information that I needed to finish the nomination. Everyone's not going to do that. Some people would have just skipped that part and kept it moving. And guess who suffers from that? You, the student. So make sure you give the information that is needed to paint the picture that you want to paint for your letter of recommendation. That's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is to, drumroll, ask for more letters than you need. Why do I say that? Your recommenders may have the best of intentions, but every letter you receive is not going to be a quality letter. If at all possible, I would definitely recommend asking more people to write letters than you need. Most organizations or scholarships are typically only going to ask for 1 or 2 letters of recommendation. So if you ask 4 different people, that should be more than enough. You definitely can have those individuals to send a copy of the letter to you. So that way you can review it and really get an idea of which of those letters you would like to submit or which of those recommenders you would like to request send that letter. So ask for more letters than you need so that you have options. That's tip number 4. Last but not least, tip number 5. Explain questionable information. If there is questionable information on your transcript or in your academics, make sure you explain that so that hopefully that recommender can find a way to infuse that into their letter. And maybe it's not things that's questionable. Maybe there are gaps in your accomplishments. So for instance, questionable information could be a D in a class. And maybe you were ill, or you had a family member or a parent that was ill, and you took on the responsibility of taking care of siblings while that parent or guardian was in the hospital. That would explain why all of your other academics are maybe A's and B's, but in that particular class, that semester, you earned a D. Or it could be missing accomplishments. Maybe you have not participated in very many extracurricular activities, but it's because you're working to help support your family. That can be infused into your letter of recommendation to explain why your extracurricular activities is limited. So make sure that if necessary, you explain questionable information or gaps in your overall academic extracurricular portfolio. Those are my 5 tips to get that winning letter of recommendation. I am sure that if you follow these tips, you will be happy with the letter of recommendation that you receive, and college acceptance is a step away. Thank you again for allowing me to travel with you on your journey to college acceptance. Again, my name is Tam from FY Squared, where we help you transition from your freshman year of high school to your freshman year of college. Until next time, until the next video, bye-bye.